Hey there, and welcome to today's video. For today's video, we are going to be trying out the Each Room One Tile Bigger challenge from James Turner. This challenge is basically just as the word says. Each room only needs to be one tile bigger, and that is the only rule to this challenge. You can add decks, you can add stuff in the backyard, but the house itself, each room needs to be one tile bigger. Now, what you do with that room is up to you. So I wanted to take this kind of one step further and limit myself to the biggest room being only 10 tiles big. So that room is going to be the master bedroom, which I could have stopped at 9 tiles, but it would have made this build that much harder, and I wasn't too sure how I would even fit a room and a kitchen and a living room because I wanted this house to basically have all of the essentials of the room. Now, I did playtest this house, and you can separate rooms with archways. That was one of the things that James Turner had mentioned was allowed for the challenge. But when I was playtesting the house, basically what I did with the living room is I put the 5 tile room as a living room, and I put a 3 tile room open with an archway so you could have a desk in there. When I was playtesting this house, that did not work. So what I did is I removed the wall instead of putting in an archway, which technically would then have made it an 8 tile room, but it's still kind of separated. So I hope that still passes with the rules of this challenge. But I came into this challenge thinking I'm going to make this a starter home. But this house did not end up being a starter home since I ended up going for the aesthetic of it instead of the budget. But it is very easily a starter home if you get rid of things like the TV and the computer and a lot of the landscaping. So if you still want to use this house as a starter home, you are completely allowed to do that. I do not really mind whatever it is that you do to a house once you download it. I basically put houses out there as a here is a stepping stone. Here you can start with a house and do whatever it is that you want to do with it. So whatever you do after that is completely up to you. What I did with the room itself to be able to have everything that I wanted in there was I used rooms as closets. One thing that I found kind of awkward when trying to place was the 1 tile room and the 2 tile rooms. So those are the ones that I end up using as closets, one in the main entrance and the other one in the only bedroom that this house has. The 3 tile room I was originally going to make a half bath, but since I limited myself to only 10 tiles, I figured that was not going to work at all, since it wouldn't really make sense to have a full bath and a half in such a small house. The 6 tile room, I was going to actually use that as the bathroom, but as I started laying out the rooms, I figured that would work better as a hallway. So the 4 tile ended up being the entrance, and the 6 tile a hallway that basically divides all the other rooms. The kitchen ended up being all the way to the back of the house with the 8 tile room. It was just enough to fit in a kitchen with everything that it needed. As I was playtesting this house, I realized something really odd, which I'm not sure why the sim was doing that at all. But I placed a microwave on the corner counter, and they ended up using that counter for cooking as well anyways. There is a free counter that I didn't do anything with right next to the sink specifically so they would have a place to cut the food and everything. But I don't know why the sim was using the counter that specifically had a microwave on top of it, and the microwave also works. So I found that very strange, but as long as it works, I'm gonna call that a win. As far as decorating the house in general goes, I decided to go very simple. This house, I would assume, was probably an older home, and that's why everything is sectioned off so much. It ended up working out quite well as far as layout goes. I actually expected the layout to be a bit more wonky, and I found it to be quite seamless, in my personal opinion. It is a small house after all, but everything has a purpose, and everything seems like it was done that way specifically because it was the way it was built, not because it was a challenge at all, which in my book is a win since that is what I believe most challenges are driven towards. It is driven towards making a house look like it's not a challenge, even though it is. But anyways, we're getting close to the end of the video for today. It is fairly short compared to what I've been building lately, and at one point the house was actually so small that I ended up passing it to a completely other lot. I believe I was building on a 30 by 40, and I ended up going to a 30 by 20 or something like that. It was way too big of a lot. I've been building a lot bigger houses. At least for December, there was a lot of bigger houses. And for the beginning of the year as well, that one was a really, really big lot. So it took me by surprise when I actually ended up needing to move from one lot to the other. But anyways, that will be all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching like always. Let me know down below what you think of this challenge. Should I try it again and try going bigger? Would you like me to try going even smaller? Could definitely go smaller. The issue is the sizes of the bedrooms. There might be just a single bed, but I could definitely do it by going even smaller. But anyways, let me know what you think down below. Let me know what you'd like me to try out next. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a great weekend.